16 years ago, we broadcast a story about Marva Collins, a Chicago teacher who started her own elementary school on the city's west side, West Side Prep. Marva claimed that with love, hard work, and no-nonsense teaching, inner-city children could compete with anyone academically. It was, to many people, quite an inspiring story. But not to Charles Murray, author of the controversial book about race and intelligence called The Bell Curve. On page 399, Murray writes that Marva's celebrated anecdotes about her students are too good to be true. We traced 33 of the 34 and flew a group of them back to Chicago, back to West Side Prep's new location for a reunion of sorts.
Aren't you pretty?
To see if Charles Murray's allegations in the bell curve are true, to see whether or not these young men and women lived up to Marva's claims. Christopher Stubblefield,
We learned to read hard work.
the 8-year-old with a big voice, is now at university in Texas, and Erica McCoy Pace graduated last spring from Norfolk State University. When you saw her last, she was listing her favorite authors.
Emerson, Henry David Thoreau.
And what about the rest of our class of 79?
Michael Anderson, Taylor.
Terry Holmes, owner-operator of transportation company.
LaTanya Singleton, preschool teacher.
James Lowe, Staff Sergeant, United States Air Force.
Sabrina Yates, 6th grade teacher.
Rysel Winters, law student.
Louis Johnson, operations manager.
Xavier Jones, teacher, criminal justice major.
Craig Brunner, clerk for the State's Attorney's Office.
She just gave so much to me personally in terms of always being reassuring. I mean, just the small things, like she would grab my face and say, pretty girl.
Yeah. Honey, you're brilliant.
That's right.
Especially Craig. She would take his head and raise it up. Speak up, honey, you're brilliant.
That's right.
And, you know, after someone telling you that
Every day.
every day, 5 days a week,
Confidence.
for 3 or 4 years, you know, that's in you. That becomes a part of you. You are brilliant, honey.
And then when we were doing Shakespeare, we put on the plays, and we had the three witches. Rysel was a witch. Yeah, it was fun.
But Charles Murray stated that claims of long-term academic achievement would typically fade as these children grow up.
Sagacious means what? Means you're very what?
Bright.
The words that we learned, it was nice because when we left and we heard someone talking, using a word, we knew what that word meant. And now in school, a lot of times we get the reading list on the course outline. I read most of the books on there. You know, it's like, oh yeah, I read that, or the teacher will be talking about something, and I'm like, oh yeah, I read that book. All the students may feel like this shit.
Murray also raised questions about Marva's claims that 5- and 10-year-olds who'd been labeled unteachable were capable of reading Chaucer and Shakespeare. Well, Michael Anderson was said to have a learning disability when he entered Marva's school at age 9.
I had a client just a couple months ago, brought up Shakespeare out of nowhere. And we sat after having coffee for 3 hours. You know? Well, where did you learn Shakespeare? 4th grade. I knocked him off his feet. He couldn't believe it. 4th grade?
And there is Erica, who was considered a hopeless case at age 6.
Basically, I was told that I was borderline retarded, that I would never read. So I was basically written off.
I was supposed to be put back a couple of grades, but I wasn't when I came to Miss Collins.
When we saw Craig Brunner in 1979, he was reading his essay about Cleopatra.
Very, very long ago, there was a queen called...
What was the secret of her success, of motivation, or what?
That confidence, how you have a brain, you can do it on your own. You don't have to wait for anybody.
She killed herself with a poisonous snake.
Very, very good.
I say to every child, for example, Morley, there's no one with your eyes. There's no one with your nose. There's no one with your hair. That makes you really special. Look, there is nothing wrong with you. You just have not been taught. I don't want you to get this, I'm dumb, I'm stupid. There is nothing wrong with you. You are somebody because God didn't make any junk. All right?
My last name.
That's all right. If you can't forget your last name, don't worry about it. Just calm down. We're here to help you. Okay?
These days, her message and methods are repeated by teachers she's trained for her 3 elementary schools in Chicago. She is mostly on the road, giving seminars for teachers all over the country. Above all, she tells them every child is teachable. Every child can learn.
Ask the slowest children in your class how many children know the rap songs, and they all raise their hands, and I'll say them for me. And I says, good. If you can do that, you can learn the Canterbury Tales in Old English, too. I don't know half of what those rap songs are saying, but they know every line. What makes us think, then, that they become such learning disabilities when they get to school?
Of those not at the reunion, a number, like Brian Gurley, are still in college. Most of the rest are working. Michael Singleton is a Chicago police officer. 2 others are corrections officers. Darius Daniels is the office manager of an insurance agency. 2 others are salesmen. Michael Ridley is a buyer in the restaurant business. Felisa Felder graduated from Loyola and works for a large brokerage house in Chicago. This January, she enters Loyola Law School. Where do you expect to be 10 years from now?
10 years from now, judge.
A law professor, actually. I said that I wanted my master's by 25, and I'm going to have my master's by 25, and then I'm going to be sitting in law school.
I would plan to be working with the Nation of Islam as far as dealing with agriculture and agribusiness.
You're studying agriculture now?
Yes.
I am going to have my own line of clothes. Not, I hope to. I am going to have my own line of clothes.
Married with my family, working hard in my church, and I'm opening my school. It's going to be very similar to this one.
And Erica Pace, she wants to open a long-term homeless shelter. Erica, once described as retarded, graduated from college last May, summa cum laude.